What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, where today we are on our 27th in-depth character review. And if you guys remember from my last episode, I was intending to do the Empire review starting this weekend. However, we had a huge update where Kylo Ren and the First Order got a lot of changes. So a lot of you guys want to get an in-depth review on Kylo Ren, and maybe he will get a promotion from my old video I made from way back when. So in light of this news, down below in the comments, let me know if you want me to start doing some First Order reviews or to go on with the Empire. Personally, I would love to get some First Order reviews because a lot has changed and they look amazing, but you guys let me know. I'll go ahead and count up the votes, either First Order, Empire, and if you pick a faction, let me know what the next character should be, and I will count those votes up and we will get going. But let's go ahead and pull up the Hall of Fame and see where we stand so far. In our last review, we closed up the clone faction and we reviewed Fives and we placed them as a master. Now, where is Kylo Ren going to fall? If you saw my old video, I placed him as a Padawan. A few days ago before the rework, I would have placed him as a youngling because he got really bad over time. So today we are going to go ahead and see what is new with Kylo Ren and whether or not he will be getting a promotion in the Hall of Fame. So stay tuned and you will soon find out. Before we can get that far, let me go ahead and first talk about Kylo Ren and his history in the Star Wars universe. Kylo Ren was the child of Princess Leia and Han Solo and was originally named Ben Solo. Due to marriage issues between Leia and Han Solo, Kylo Ren felt abandoned and began developing anger issues. Leia hoped that having Luke Skywalker train her son in the teachings of the Force would help her son, but Kylo Ren ultimately went to the dark side because of Supreme Leader Snoke, manipulating him into killing his fellow Jedi students as well as destroying Luke's attempt to restore the Jedi Order. Due to his history of murdering Jedi, he quickly jumped up in the ranks of the First Order as a leader, and with his obsession for his grandfather Darth Vader, he pledged to finish what he started, which was completely extinguishing all of the Jedi. Although Kylo Ren really aspired to complete this task, he was greatly troubled by feelings of the light side and ultimately killed his own father in hopes of relinquishing those feelings. And in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, Kylo Ren continues to carry on his personality of lashing out his anger onto others, as well as his ability to fight harder when he is greatly injured. So now our first order of business, pun intended, is to talk about how we can unlock Kylo Ren. Now, way back when, in a galaxy far, far away, on December 2015, he came out in a $99 pack, one of the most expensive packs ever in this game, and it's very debatable if this was even valuable since he went free to play quite soon right after that pack. You can also still get him in the Chromium packs today, but the free to play method that I farmed him as well as many others is on the Cantina table. He has two nodes, Battle 4C and 6C, and I highly recommend you farm him on Battle 4C because the energy cost is lower, you'll get more attempts, and if you have that free energy you collect every day, you do about 1 or 2 refreshes of Cantina energy, you should be able to get Kylo Ren to 7 stars in roughly 30 days if every day you are getting about 10 shards of him. Also, for a limited time, if you log in every day for the month of February of 2017, you will get 30 shards of Kylo Ren for FREE free. Next up, we look at the stats of Kylo Ren before mods, abilities, all that stuff is considered. This data does include Krennic, Death Trooper, and the First Order changes. So let's go right into this and see what is new. And overall, Kylo Ren's stats did not change, mainly because they were actually pretty solid. Only thing that really changed was his damage output, and we will get there soon enough. First, we look at the pros, and he has a very nice list going on here. First of all, number 16 in protection. The average is 19,654, and Kylo Ren, holy moly, mustacholi, 27,706 is his protection, which is extremely high for an attacker. Next up, very close to protection, we have health. He is number 21 in this category, with the average being 19,204. Kylo Ren is 24,448, so again, super high for an attacker. Next is max damage. He is number 23 here. The average is 5,337, and Kylo Ren's damage output is 6,884, and this comes from his ability Outrage, but it ignores so much that his kit does to multiply that number. Next, AoE. He is number 8 out of the 37 that have AoE capabilities in this game. The average amount of AoE damage output is 2,941, and Kylo Ren has 3,361. So again, above that average, pretty good, and this does not even consider his kit just yet. The list just keeps going on and on and on, and we take a look at speed, where he is number 39. The average is 127, and Kylo Ren is just a smidge above that, being at 128. So not the fastest, not the slowest, but definitely right above average. And with his kit and mods, you will bump that up quite a lot. Armor penetration, very good as well. Number 26 in this category, with the average being 52, and Kylo Ren just above that at 68. So very, very good. So he'll be piercing through thick armor like Sunfac, Fives, all those big heavy guys. Following this, we look at the opposite of armor penetration, and that is armor. He is very good defensively, as you might be seeing here. He is number 35 in armor, with the average being 226, and Kylo Ren being at 238. And the last pro I want to mention is that he has 5% health steal, and health steal is always great than having no health steal. The rest of these things aren't actually all that bad, and we first take a look at the averages, and there's only one thing in here that he's average at, and that is potency. When examining potency, we see he is number 48. The average and the median is centered around 31%, and Kylo Ren is a tad above that at 32%. So he's doing all right here, and if he was just a few marks higher, this would have been in the pros section as well. So you guys thought we could dodge the bullets here, but we can't. We got to get into the stuff that Chewbacca wants to cry about. But very good news, there's only one thing in here, so Chewbacca's poor little heart will have it quite easy on him today. Kind of funny since Kylo Ren kind of broke his heart in a way. Only topic here that we need to talk about is maximum basic damage, and he is number 67. The average is 4,314, and Kylo Ren is at 3,974. And yes, this does not even consider his unique ability, so it's not that bad. It could be worse, but it's still something in the cons that I need to address for you guys. So we are going to start connecting the dots and see why these numbers don't tell the full story. Even though they're already pretty solid, this kit just takes it to a whole other level. Firstly, we have Ragged Cut. This is his basic attack that deals physical damage to a targeted enemy with a 75% chance to inflict healing immunity for 2 turns and a 75% chance to inflict damage over time for 3 turns. This does about 3,596 to about 3,974 before mods, abilities, leaders, all that stuff. And not much has changed except more damage was given to him, higher chance to apply healing immunity, and a longer time to apply the debuffs. Those are pretty much the main thing, so we can go ahead and move on to Lash Out, which is now it's a bit more interesting. This deals physical damage to all enemies, and he gains Retribution for 2 turns instead of 1 turn like before. First order allies and allies with advantage gain 25% turn meter. This does about 3,041 to 3,361 damage before all that other stuff is considered. If you don't know what Retribution is, all it is, it's a unique buff that allows you to counterattack 100% of the time, assuming it can't get dispelled, which the fact is, today this would get dispelled left and right. He also acts like Stormtrooper Han in a way with a huge turn meter gain. You can have First Order Officer call Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren gets 100% turn meter. He'll go ahead, use Lash Out, and give all of his First Order allies and people with advantage 25% turn meter. So very good if you use it strategically well. And it's just great to see he has advantage synergy. Wasn't the case before, but now they added it. And this will do some good damage on critical hits when his unique kicks in. The 2 most impressive things you probably want to know about is Outrage and Unstoppable. First, we'll talk about Outrage, and this deals physical damage to a single enemy, and if Kylo Ren has full health, he will inflict stun for 1 turn. And this attack will deal 75% more damage if Kylo is below full health. And he also recovers protection equal to the damage dealt, and before everything is considered, he does about 6,230 to 6,884. So this improved drastically, so he can use something when he's above full health and immediately when he's below full health. Before you had to wait once he's below 50% and it wasn't all that useful, and now it's great. And assuming he's at least hit once and is below health, this can easily do over 13,000 damage, which also means he regains 13,000 protection, and that is just absolutely huge. And the stun is all also appreciated because that means he can control the battlefield more and help you out. Lastly, holy cow, Unstoppable. Now this is his unique ability, and let me read what it said before. Before the rework, it just said 50% chance to reset cooldowns whenever he is damaged. Super bland, super boring, and not very helpful. Now, whenever Kylo Ren takes damage, he gains 50% defense and 15% offense for 1 turn and has a 50% chance to reset his cooldowns. Kylo takes reduced damage from percent health damage effects like damage over time and gains 10 speed for each debuff on him. Whenever Kylo uses a special ability, he gains damage over time for 2 turns. So, wow, such a huge improvement. And what this means, since he has high defensive stats, this will increase his time to defeat, because the harder it is to knock him down with all that health, all that defense, the longer he is in battle. But this also means he will be increasing his time to defeat you. He has a very fast time to kill now. In my initial review, I had no idea why I would want to Omega him to get the additional damage over time effects. However, now it makes more sense. With damage over time on him, he is increasing his speed, increasing his damage, increasing his defense. Every time damage over time sucks the health out of him, it also has a chance to reset his cooldowns on his abilities, so he can constantly use Outrage, constantly use Lash Out. That's why in this video here, you are seeing Kylo Ren use his special abilities so many times. So you know what, guys? I take back my initial reaction from that video. Definitely go ahead, Omega this. You want him to hurt himself as much as possible. As much as that sounds contradicting, it makes a lot of sense. As a side note, I'm surprised they didn't give him a leader ability, since he did lead many battles in the movies, but hey, that's just a side note, nothing too much to talk about. Last objective thing we have to get to is the gear requirements, and not much has changed here, but since my last video, gold gear was implemented, so we will talk about that. When examining raid gear, you will need 2 pieces to get to gear 11, and you'll be able to get him to gear 9 actually without any raid gear needed, so very good. But if you need to get to gear 11, you will need the Mark 7 Nubian scanner and a Mark 6 Nubian tech design. The gold gear, he is also doing okay. He needs 1 full Mark 8 biotech implant to get from gear 10 to gear 11, and once you get to gear 11, you will need to fill out the rest of the order. The average amount needed in this game is 200 gold pieces, and Kylo Ren needs 330, with most of them being needed at gear 11. Purple gear, the stuff you really want to be like Kylo Ren and punch yourself when thinking about it, and he's pretty much right on average here. The average amount of purple gear needed is 1,116, and Kylo Ren is at 1,120, putting him at number 51 for purple gear requirements. If you're thinking of getting Kylo Ren a Valentine's gift because you're such a lovely person, you want to go ahead and get him the boxes of assorted chocolates, because he has a diverse requirement for purple gear, but the most frequent piece that he will need are the Mark III Carbonti sensor arrays, where he will need 300 pieces of those. And blue, green, white gear, slightly above average for blue and slightly below for green and white, so nothing too crazy to talk about. Alright guys, buckle down, because it is now time for my subjective part of the review, where I give you my thoughts, Yoda's do or do not checklist, mods, mortal and enemies, best friends. But first off, I just have to give you my thoughts, and wow, the Kylo Ren rework is absolutely great in my opinion. He had solid stats before the rework, and his main drawback was the very poor kit. He had high defense, high damage, decent speed, and now with the kit, it amplifies this even more. He now has a purpose in a First Order squad to give out turn meter, and even outside of the First Order, he can be beneficial. Outrage allows him to stun when he is at his strongest, and he punishes his enemies with devastating blows when he is below health. He has high survivability between his health regeneration and protection regeneration, does an extremely amount of high damage on his AoE and Outrage, which will be used very frequently because he can reset his cooldowns anytime he takes damage, and even the damage over time has a chance to reset his cooldowns because that is applying damage to him as well. So he's even trying to give himself a reset on the cooldowns. Absolutely amazing. He'll even fight faster with every debuff that is on him, so this is a great counter to possibly a Darth Vader Zeta leader ability. Darth Vader applies a lot of damage over time, and that is just going to feed Kylo Ren's anger, and he will fight faster and harder. Speaking of Darth Vader, let's go ahead and look at Kylo Ren's mortal enemies. And although Kylo Ren is a great counter to Darth Vader, Darth Vader is a great counter to Kylo Ren because all those damage over time effects are going to stack up on Kylo Ren, which sets up Darth Vader, especially if he has a Zeta, to throw his Culling Blade and get an amazing amount of damage on him. So be aware of that. Same thing like Boba Fett, more damage over time means more things that Boba Fett can dispel. Palpatine's a great counter. Applying shock prevents retribution, prevents turn meter gain on the other characters. Characters like Qui-Gon, B2, Sun Fac, they can go ahead and get rid of retribution very easily. Stun characters are also great. Kylo Ren likes to throw a lot of fits. He's like a kid and you just want to shut him up, so you go ahead, stun him so he doesn't bother you. Cleansers are a great counter to go ahead and prevent him from applying debuffs. Characters that can give critical hit immunity are great because Kylo Ren gives out some pretty big damage and you want to slow that down as much as possible. And offense down is another great idea because you want to try to mitigate how much damage he is applying to you. Daze from characters like Death Trooper, Maul, Rey, all those characters, even K2SO, could be deadly against Kylo Ren to prevent him from counterattacking, so be aware of that. And lastly, Yoda. He can steal Kylo Ren's retribution, share it with his whole team, and absolutely destroy you, so be careful of that as well. Oh, and I just thought of one more thing. Kylo Ren will be resetting his cooldowns a lot for his special abilities, so you want to maybe use ability blocks, so in case they do reset, he will not be able to use them. When Kylo Ren is happy, it's because he's with his best friends, and all the First Order characters are his best friends, especially the First Order officer in my opinion. First Order officer can give Kylo Ren 100% turn meter, reset all First Order cooldowns by 1, so this will just help Kylo Ren get out there early, use his lash out, give out turn meter, reduce cooldowns by 1. It is great, so First Order officer will be a great asset to him. Also, Stormtrooper Han to go ahead, give out turn meter between Stormtrooper Han turn meter, Kylo Ren turn meter. There will be turn meter left and right. Characters that give offense up are very helpful to increase that damage output, especially Palpatine. Palpatine will go ahead, self-heal himself, do damage to Kylo Ren, reset Kylo Ren's cooldowns, give Kylo Ren offense up, give Kylo Ren the extra damage output from his unique, all from Palpatine just healing himself. So a great and unexpected ally that I thought you would like to know about. Characters that use advantage are also great. Kylo Ren can give them turn meter. Characters that use debuffs are also great to go ahead and stack those effects. Darth Vader and Boba Fett will love the extra help from Kylo Ren applying healing immunity, damage over time, so they can go ahead, use execute and Culling Blade and get some big attacks out. Now, a lot of ways to go with the mods, but I highly recommend, like a lot of other attackers, using critical damage and critical chance mod sets. He will be getting offense up. I'm assuming you might be using him with characters like Captain Phasma to give him advantage, so that means he will be getting a lot of critical damage attacks out, and you want to amplify that as much as possible. You could also use offense mods to bump that up so he has more damage output. Health mod sets are great because he has a very high base health pool, and you can just multiply that to make it even bigger since it's already a big number. Likewise, the primary and secondary mods, a lot of flexibility. I would really like to see you guys get a lot of speed on him so he can just add that to his speed he will be getting from all those debuffs if they do ever come onto him. So definitely bump up his speed, bump up his offense, bump up his critical damage especially. Try to get those plus 30% critical damage mods, and if you can, also get him protection, primary and secondary mods. Get him those that give him plus 23% protection, and health mods are also good, but protection would be much more preferred. And lastly, oh boy, a lot of information in this video today. We have Yoda's do or do not checklist, where I quickly go ahead and let you guys know if he's accessible in certain aspects of the game or if he's actually good, and we start off with Arena. You will see plenty of Arena gameplay in this video, and he is very viable now, especially in the First Order squad with First Order officer. He is great, so definitely do. Galactic War is also a do. He puts out a lot of damage and he has high survivability, two very important things for Galactic War, so definitely do. Dark side battles, yeah, just like the previous two things, he will be good for dark side battles. Cantina battles, just like everything else before, definitely do. Mod challenges, yes, he is needed for the First Order mod challenges to get offense mod, so definitely get him because there are only 5 First Order characters in the game and you need 5 of them to participate in the mod challenges. Ships is do not, no ship just yet, but hey, who knows, maybe one day he will have his own ship. Rancor Raid, I mean, yeah, he does a lot of damage output, so you know what, I'll just go ahead and say do, but it's definitely not the #1 priority, so don't worry about it. AAT raid. Now, this takes a lot of time to think about, but if you use him in the phase 1 of the AAT raid, he will do very well. A lot of debuffs, especially in phase 1, which means more speed, more attacks, more damage, and I am going to try to get some gameplay so you guys can check that out later on. So guys, it is now time. Let's go ahead, pull up the Hall of Fame, and see where Kylo Ren is going to be ranked. Way back when, I ranked him as a Padawan. Last week, if someone would have asked me to remake my Hall of Fame, he would have been placed as a youngling, bottom of the barrel. But today, in February 2017, from Grandmaster to youngling, I am going to move Kylo Ren to the Grandmaster status. The rework is just fantastic. He needed a new kit update, and that just greatly complemented his great stats. He will constantly do a lot of damage, give out turn meter, and he worked in many different squads, and I can see this being a part of the new meta, and it seems flexible to work for future metas. So great job, developers. Very impressed with this, and on behalf of myself as well as the community at large, I think I can say, I hope you guys continue to do this for old characters who have been very bad for a long time, who have been long forgotten, or who have been bad since the beginning of the game. We want to see more of this, and we don't always just want to see new characters who are just completely overpowered. This is great, and keep it up. And to all of you guys who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please comment down below on what you think of Kylo Ren, or if we should do First Order or Empire characters next. Love to hear what you say, and as always, please go ahead, like this video, and subscribe for more Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content. And we will talk again soon. Peace out.